Are you doing a whole ton of research into narcissistic abuse and you want to show your findings to the narcissist in your life to maybe get on the same page or something? Well, if you said yes, keep watching this video so you can learn why this is a very bad idea. In this week's episode of my new Clear as Mud series, I will be sharing with you why you should not try to educate the narcissist in your life about narcissistic abuse, especially if you think that this is going to get them to finally see the error in their ways and change, because it is not going to happen. So first thing to understand, if you think that you're going to show the narcissist all the research that you've done and show them, it's going to backfire. Why? Because literally anything that you say or do, regardless of whether it's about this specific topic where you think you want to show the narcissist what you're learning, or anything else, you have to understand that the narcissist is literally studying you and calculating their response with whatever way they think they're going to be able to get more narcissistic supply out of you. So what's narcissistic supply? Put very simply, it's your reaction of any kind. It can be an emotional reaction, your energy, your resources, time, access to you, praise, recognition, engaging in conversation, especially those circular conversations filled with word salad that does not lead to any kind of resolution at all. Any interaction that you have with the narcissist is them trying to get supply out of you, regardless of the situation that's going on, regardless of what kind of relationship you have with the narcissist. If it's a family member, if it's a friend, if it's a significant other, they are always trying to get supply. It is their ultimate goal, and it's not going to make any sense at all when your brain is not wired the way that a narcissist's brain is wired to constantly seek supply from other people. If it doesn't make sense to you, that's not a bad thing. It just really means that you could never imagine treating people that way. And there's actually nothing wrong with that. Like, nobody should treat anybody that way. So just understand that first and foremost, that you are thinking completely differently from how the narcissist is thinking. So when you start to put the pieces together, of course, it's a little bit disturbing. I know it sure as hell was very disturbing for me when I began to realize that my mother was a narcissist, because what this meant for me was that my entire life, as I knew it up until that point, was basically a lie. I totally get it. I would rather eat glass than realize all of this stuff about my life when I'm already well into adulthood. And honestly, if this is where you're at right now, I just want you to know that that's completely normal. It's not supposed to be an enjoyable experience when you learn some very devastating truths about your life. So if you are feeling crappy because you're coming to terms with all of this, just understand that that's normal. There's no reason for this to feel good. You know, of course, it's going to be great once you do the inner work and come through to the other side, and that's amazing. But right now, if you're not there, like, none of this is going to feel good. Okay. And let me tell you, as somebody who's on the other side, like, there is no reality where I could even fathom being happy, okay, when coming to terms with my mother being a narcissist. Like, it's devastating. It is the ultimate betrayal. It is like the lies you never want to learn about. But once you become grounded in the truth and the reality, you can start empowering yourself. And of course, you're not going to be living your life in the same way that you were living it prior to all of those realizations. And that's not a bad thing. It just feels really bad in the moment because it's a shocking thing to find out. So give yourself that compassion and that space to process whatever emotions are coming up for you. So here's the problem, okay? You're a reasonable person, and that's not a bad thing, but the problem with being a reasonable person is sometimes we assume that everybody else is also a reasonable person. And maybe you are projecting your reasonableness onto the narcissist, because if somebody came to you armed with this information and showed you these things that you do that and they're telling you straight up, this is abusive towards me, it's causing me so much pain, can you not do this anymore? You would probably think, oh crap, I'm glad I know about this now so I can stop being this way. And if that's what you're expecting from the narcissist, it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen because you're not dealing with a reasonable person. And we all know that expectations and reality are two completely different things. So let's get into the reality of what's actually going to happen if you do share your research with the narcissist. Number one, they are potentially going to start doing their own research about narcissistic abuse and spin it in a way that they can manipulate you with it. Okay, so they might call you a narcissist and show you all the ways that you have displayed these behaviors as well. And you know, there's a difference between having the traits, because every human being has narcissistic traits to some extent, but there's a difference between that and being a full-blown abuser who has the intention to abuse people, who repeats the pattern and the cycle of abuse over and over and over again, versus somebody who's well-meaning, and some of those traits can slip out sometimes, or, you know, you're not being heard by the narcissist. So that's going to irritate you, absolutely. And you're kind of retaliating in an effort to get them to hear you. And that's your intention, right? Like there's a difference between that being your intention versus your intention being, I want to destroy this person and destroy their self-esteem because it just gives me a little kick to see them in a state of distress, because that is the narcissist's intention. So just keep that in mind, that they might tell you you're a narcissist and try to get you to believe that you're actually the problem and not them. I mean, very classic manipulation tactic. They can also perhaps justify their behavior and tell you why it's you who provokes them into behaving that way and why it's all your fault somehow. And then, you know, there's other things they might say too, like if you're really doing a lot of research and applying all the tools that you're learning about into your life, they might tell you that you joined a cult or something like that, and you don't know what you're talking about, and wherever you're getting your info from, they don't know what you're talking about. Now, there is a lot of misinformation out there on the internet, like 100%, but you do not need like a scientist to tell you that like this is how abuse works and this is abusive, and then you start putting two and two together and realizing like, oh my gosh, it is narcissistic abuse. So trust your ability to think, okay? Because you can think. You are able to think critically and know when something does apply to your life or does not apply to your life. But if it's not convenient for the narcissist, they're gonna gaslight you, and just be aware of that. The goal for the narcissist with all of this, right? Like if you do kind of tell them, hey, this is what you're doing, I don't like it, they might actually even tell you that they're going to get help or something like that. And at the end of the day, it's whatever they're going to say to you is just, it's going to be very specific to your situation with them. And it's going to be whatever they think is going to get a reaction out of you, because that's supply. Their goal with any of this is not to make the relationship any better or to help you improve your sanity as you navigate their difficult personality. Their goal is to get supply from you. They want to confuse the crap out of you, so you keep thinking that you are the issue and not them. And when you're confused, you're easier to control and you're gonna stick around for longer, because if you keep believing it's your problem and you're at fault, you're gonna keep doing things to try and be a better person over and over and over again, and it's never gonna be good enough. So the sooner you realize that that's going to be an epic waste of your time, the sooner you can start focusing on yourself and your healing. And that in turn is going to help with just setting those boundaries that need to be set. Nobody is perfect. Yes, you probably have your flaws and you've probably behaved in ways that you're not proud of. I sure as hell have. And it is what it is. We've all done stupid things and said stupid things and behaved in ways that we are not proud of. It's part of the human condition. But again, there's a huge difference between being an imperfect person who makes mistakes versus an abuser who tries to hide under the mask of pretending that they're just making mistakes and they're a human and you're just being so unreasonable, okay? So what's the solution? Well, first of all, notice what your goal is, okay? If your goal by showing the narcissist all of the information you found is to get the narcissist to change their behavior altogether, I'm going to tell you right now that there is no solution and that goal will never be achieved. If you cannot accept that you have absolutely no power to change another human being, you're going to have a very difficult time navigating this. And nothing that you find is going to help you. And you're probably going to spend a lot of time running around in circles and getting nowhere until you reach a point where it's like, okay, I have to accept this now. Or you can just accept now how horrible this is and how dysregulating it feels to your nervous system that you do not have control in this situation. That is kind of the first step in taking back control over your life. Once you accept that absolutely nothing you say or do is going to make the narcissist stop being a narcissist, you can start using the knowledge of the research that you're doing into your life and applying it to your life and, improving your life that way, because this person's never going to learn no matter how much you want them to. And I'm sure that if you have clicked on this video and you're watching this, you've probably tried it already and you didn't really get anywhere. Or if you haven't tried it already, you're contemplating it and you still don't believe me and you're going to go ahead and try and show it to them and you're going to see exactly how it's going to play out, then that is your path. And at the end of the day, maybe having that proof that this is how it's going to play out. So maybe I won't do that next time. And I'm just going to do my behind the scenes research and my behind the scenes healing and, not even get their input into any of this, then that is great, right? Whatever it is, whatever it's going to take to have you see that, it's just, there's no reasoning with these people. You're not going to get anywhere. And what are you available for, right? How much time do you have for this? So keep that in mind and just understand that it's really going to become a whole new layer of manipulation if you do try and learn about narcissistic abuse with them, because they're going to just throw everything back into your face and confuse the crap out of you as much as possible. So I hope this helps. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know in the comments if you have actually tried to show the narcissist in your life what you've been learning about narcissistic abuse and how that went. Maybe your survivor warning tale will help another survivor to not take an action like that themselves. So that's all I've got for today. Stay tuned for the next video in our Clear as Mud series. Take care.